Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. If you don't know, I am Mangg. We are playing some Sekiro. Because it's just great. I've beaten Sekiro 3 times now. Once on New Game Plus, which is something I don't think I've ever done with any other Soulsborne game. So now I'm on my 4th playthrough, I guess. I'm doing it without Kuro's Charm. Which Kuro's Charm is basically easy mode. So that's been fun. It's just good. It's just a good, enjoyable video game. I cannot complain. Not one bit. So, let's get into things, I suppose. This week on this channel, we had plenty of Sekiro, of course. That's continuing on. We're not going to finish that this week since there's, I believe, 6 parts left. So, we'll get close to finishing, but not quite. We also had Diablo 2 Median XL, which... yeah, I guess I would say it got cut short. It ended before I expected it to. Bullshit. But it was enjoyable while we had it going, and not going to complain too much about it. I then moved on to Final Fantasy 15. So that just started last night, I guess, today. That'll take probably about a month to get through, give or take. And fuck. We of course had Skyrim Bingo. We had 1 participant drop out, so it ended up between 5 contestants. And it was pretty fun. It wasn't much of a competition. Competition sort of implies all participants have a chance of winning. Which was not really the case. Really, two of us had a chance of winning. And three were just sort of there for a casual play of Skyrim. You know, I understand. Holy shit. Skyrim is not everyone's favorite game. And putting in practice time for a game that you don't really love to play is something that's probably not going to happen. So I think Gyro and I were the only ones that put in practice time. Fuck. This fucking shield guy, man. And Gyro ended up having what the quite a few technical difficulties, you know, Bethesda game being a Bethesda game. So I think she was pretty upset about her run. I had really only one technical difficulty. It was during the Sheogorath quest. I think it was due to some armor that I had equipped that was like bugging out, because once I changed armor, I didn't realize right away though. So that made that quest a little tricky, but not too bad, because it's pretty easy. So, in the description of this video, there is a picture of our bingo board. This is the one that we ran on. I showed it off during the stream, but this is just a link for everyone watching this that wants to check it out. So I don't know Ziggy's full list of objectives that he came up with. I don't know what he cut out. This is just the bingo board that he went with for the event. So if you are interested in doing your own little bingo race, feel free to use this one. It seemed kind of fair overall. There are some objectives that I just avoided like the plague, because I just didn't know. I didn't know enough on how to do them and how to. Yeah, I had like specific routes in mind, so I picked the set of objectives that best matched my practiced knowledge. So I went with the middle row. Escape Helgen was the free space, because everyone did that. Gyro actually finished her race doing a row that didn't include the free space, though. So she actually did 6 objectives. But so I did the middle row, because that's what I had most practice. Because that included doing the save scumming, pickpocket trainer shit on the alchemist to get my crafting skill to level 50. I had practiced that, so I knew that route. Which, after getting out of Helgen, you just pick up a bunch of blue mountain flowers, blue butterfly wings, you head to the alchemist in Whiterun, you make those potions, you sell them, you do the training, pickpocketing. Fortunately, I got enough blue butterfly wings at the start pretty quickly, and I had enough money to get alchemy up to 50. So that was pretty good. That got me up to like level 14. So then I moved on to doing the 3 Daedric artifacts. He changed it. In the original practice board, it was just obtain 3 Daedric artifacts. He realized, though, because I realized, and I talked to him about it, that not every Daedric artifact is at the end of the quest. You can get some, like, just at the start of the quest, like the Cursed Ring of Hircine. So he modified, I think overall he tried to modify things to make a bunch of objectives a little bit longer. I don't think he cut down any objectives to make them shorter. Except for, I think he changed win 5 brawls from win 6 brawls. So that changed it, because originally I had practiced getting the Cursed Ring of Hircine, which is very easy. I did have some backups in mind, one of which was the Ebony Blade, but you have to be level 20 or 22 to get that, and I think it was 20, which is possible, but it's not very fast. So then my backup, like, I didn't even practice it, it was just like in my back pocket of my brain, just like, oh yeah, I could do that, is Sanguine's quest, because you can just do that right away at level 14, which is what I was. And I was like, okay, I can do the Sanguine quest. That has sort of crossover potential with the far right box, where you have to encounter 2 of the following: Mike the Liar, the Ghost of Old Hroldan, or Sam Gwiven, or Given, or whatever it is. Because Sam Gwiven is Sanguine, that you meet him as part of that quest. Ziggy thought that Sam was like randomly located in the world. But as soon as you hit 14, like the closest inn has Sam in it. So it's not randomized. And the Ghost of Old Hroldan is not randomized. So Mike the Liar is, unless you stumble upon him during your route, it's really not the best decision. Unless you don't get up to level 14, then Sam is out. You can't find him. So I'm like, okay, there's crossover potential between Sanguine and Sam there, so okay, I'll throw that in as the 3rd Daedric artifact quest. So I immediately went to Markarth. I did the Molag Bal quest, which wasn't too bad. I did the Sheogorath quest in Solitude. That's really easy. You can do that at like level 1. And then I started the Sanguine quest, which I have not done in a long, long time. And I had completely forgotten how lengthy it was. I think it was the lengthiest part of like the whole run. But, you know, in the end, it worked out. So then I had to do the Dark Brotherhood. Originally, he had 2 objectives, one being destroy the Dark Brotherhood, which you can see on the board, and the other was just join the Dark Brotherhood. It's a lot faster to join the Dark Brotherhood than it is to destroy it. So he changed join into completing Morning Never Comes, which is lengthier, because you have to do all the first 3 contracts in the Dark Brotherhood. So that was a little time consuming. And then Morning Never Comes was pretty quick. I was surprised how quick it was. There were some hairy moments where I just had no healing potions, and I was sprinting through a lot of areas. I was level 14, so things were sort of leveled higher, and there were some tricky moments. But I finished the Dark Brotherhood quest, and then all I had to do was go to the Old Hroldan Inn, and then I finished the run at 1 hour and 50 minutes, which was right around the same as my practice run, using a different route. So that was pretty consistent. Gyro ended up getting 2nd place with, like, I don't know what it was, 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. And then, yeah, shortly after that, Jeff and Studs pretty much just gave up. They were clearly just not prepared. And Thomas got a lot of coaching from the others. And he just sort of soldiered on. I think they changed it towards the end to where it's just, if you can complete any 5 tiles, that's good enough. So I think he finished, he did the Companion's Quest, I think he did 15 distinct spells, he did High Hrothgar, he got married, and he escaped Helgen. I think that's what was his 5 things, which is pretty quick. That shouldn't take 3 hours. But like I said, they didn't really practice. They haven't played the game in a long time. They were just, it was a casual event, and that's fine. I had fun, at least. I had fun practicing. I had fun sort of playing Skyrim like I never have played it before. And it was sort of a little taste of speedrunning that I kind of enjoyed. So it was good. We went out to dinner afterwards. P.F. Chang's. And we were discussing other potential bingo races, speedrun events, things like that we would all feel comfortable trying. And the thing is, for like 5-6 people, finding a game that everyone would enjoy playing, you know, is the tricky part. Because everyone, you know, we all were like, oh, we could do this. And it's a game that they, like, really enjoy. They particularly enjoy and are good at. And it's like, of course you're going to say that. You have a clear advantage. And, you know, this person has never even played that game. And blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of that. That's why Skyrim was, like, the first choice. Because we had all played it. It turned out some more than others. But the thing is, it wasn't a speed running... It wasn't a speed run to like the end of the game that required technical mastery and knowledge of glitches and things like that. It was a bingo race. And so we could all... There's so much you can do at the start of the game that it was just, even if you're not like super hardcore, there, you know, there's stuff you can just do. For a casual event, it was good. So I think Satan brought up the concept of like a Hollow Knight bingo, which would be very fun. But only 2 of us have even played the game. You know, I'd like to come up with a Hollow Knight bingo board and just try it myself, but I don't think it'll ever be a group event. There was talk of like a Pokemon bingo race. And there's actually, you can find on the internet already pre-made bingo boards for Pokemon like Red and Blue, which we've all played, we're all familiar with, we're from that generation, so that could work. The one that we found online was a little tricky, as in it would just take too long for us because we're not experts. But we could take that and sort of trim some of the objectives down, and that would probably be pretty fun. I think we'd all enjoy that, because none of us are experts. And so if we all went in, like, with no practice to make it a little bit more fair, it probably would be pretty fun. We also talked about Breath of the Wild. That's another big open world game where there's all sorts of different like objectives you can do and little things you can do as part of tiles that would probably work. The only thing with that is I think we'd all have to start with a save file once you get the hang glider. I think if you started from the very start, it's not going to be good. But that would be pretty fun, because I enjoy Breath of the Wild quite a bit. And then I think the final one we discussed was just a Diablo 2 speedrun of just normal difficulty. Whoa, what the... No way. Oh, that was stupid. Damn it, man. I'll talk about it in a second. Don't worry. We'll get to it. I'll die in a second. Bullshit. It's just so unknown, like, when firecrackers are gonna do something and when they're not. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna die, but... Okay. So, yeah, just a normal difficulty, Diablo 2 speedrun, pretty casual. You know, we were looking at, like, the actual, like, leaderboards for speedrun records for Diablo 2. We figured we could get it done in, like, 4 hours or so. With everyone sort of being familiar with the game. I've never attempted a Diablo 2 speedrun. I've seen it at, like, GDQ. I know it's primarily done with Sorceress, but I think ours would probably be all over the place. So yeah, that would probably be pretty fun, though. I think we'd all enjoy that. So there's a few ideas. Getting that amount of people together on a Saturday is a little tricky. So I don't know if any of these things will happen, or when they'll happen, or anything like that. But there was talk. People seemed open to the idea. So yeah, first prize for that bingo race, out of my pocket, was $20. Second prize was $10, and third prize was $5. God, it's so stupid. Dude, you fucking kicked dust in my face. How sportsmanlike is that? So I got to keep my $20. Yeah, it's Jesus. So yeah, you know, I won the race. I had PF Chang's. Came back and ate Doritos and watched My Two Dads, so it was a pretty good day. And then I got grabbed by a big sumo wrestler, and I stomped on him. Somehow I didn't die. Yep. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on. I'll get to the rest of the things I want to talk about in a second. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. This guy and I are gonna kick this dude's ass. It's gonna be great. Oh, I have no more firecrackers. Oh, he died. Nice. Okay. So that's all that discussion done. So moving on to this other channel that I have, the Exploring series. We hit 300,000 subscribers. That's pretty exciting. According to someone in my Discord, I now have enough fans to start a small country, which is a interesting way of looking at things. Yeah, you know, it's cool. It's cool. It's, you know, another day, another 100,000 subscribers. And I released a video on 3002, I think. Yeah, and that was alright. Can't complain. I also released a video on Tyranids. Yeah, the Tyranids video, man. I was so, like... God, I was so against that video. I finished that video. I uploaded it, and I was like, I should just delete it. I don't even want it. I don't want any human being to look at this video. This is just shit. This is just garbage. Like, how can I put this out? How can I put this out after I hit 300,000 subscribers? It's just ridiculous. I'm going to just get trashed in the comments section. People are going to be like, come on, Mangg, this is not up to your usual standards. And just, These were my thoughts. I really did not want to release it, but I did. And it got really pretty positive feedback. Not like amazing, but it has 9 dislikes right now out of 31,000 views. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just like I'm just becoming increasingly critical of my own work, but I just release everything anyways because I get money from it. Or if I'm actually putting out shittier work, and just when you reach a certain point of fandom, people just don't care, and they just like anything you put out, even if it is worse. You know, like AVGN. I don't know. Probably, maybe both. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe both. I wasn't happy with it, but clearly people were happy I released it, so... Oh well. So then this week I worked on a video on SCP-1425, Star Signals, which is, I believe, the first introduction of the Fifth Church. I think so. Which is basically SCP Scientology. So 1425 is pretty interesting just because it's like this detailed log of this nationwide cover-up done by the Foundation that really infiltrated like the media and popular culture and stuff. So it's interesting just for that reason. And I think the video turned out decent. For what it is. That was a professional move I did. because I've played this game before. God damn it. Damn it. So yeah, anyways, I think the video turned out alright. I'm not upset about it. And there isn't going to be a Warhammer video this week. Partly because I had that Skyrim bingo, and also because of various birthday events. It's my birthday this week. Turning 29 years old. So old. 29 is just a really just random ass, nothing, whatever year. But I do get to sort of combine the event with hitting 300,000 subscribers. So that helps. Some people celebrate 29 years without that. So we're doing an escape room. I've only done escape rooms with my friends so far. But this time, combining mine and my sister's birthdays, we are doing a family escape room with 10 of us. There's 10 people going. My parents, my siblings, family members, all sorts of shit. We're doing like some museum Egyptian themed one. It's gonna be a train wreck, but that's what family's for. Yeah, I think we're going to dinner afterwards and it should be pretty good. Speaking of the Exploring series, since we're on the topic, last week I talked about the ExpressVPN sponsorship. You may recall, and I turned it down. Well, actually, I just ignored it because the rate that they offered was offensive. And so I thought, you know, okay, that's pretty much it. And moving on with life. But, you know, ad agencies don't just give up like that. So I got a follow-up email like, oh, you know, how does that deal sound to you? You know, blah, blah, blah. Are you open and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, you know, I've ignored like every other sponsorship email just completely because I'm an asshole. But, you know, this is a proper company. That's a proper ad agency. I should give them the answer that they deserve and let them know that their rates suck ass. And so that's pretty much what I said. I was like, well, thank you for the offer, but I'm sorry, the rate is just too low. And so they replied, and they're like, well, what rate would be acceptable? Like, what would allow us to move forward with this? Or something. I think that was the language they used. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to throw out a number. Definitely higher than what they offered. And we'll just see what they say. You know, it's either too high and then it's like, whatever. I wasn't planning on doing it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Or they accept, and then it's fine, I'll do it. Or my worst fear was that they would just be like, you, sir, are insane. Good day. It's like, who the fuck do you think you are asking this kind of money? They did none of those things, though. They counter-offered, of course. That's how business is done. And they offered a CPM deal, which is what they should have offered in the first place, but they were trying to screw me over, like a good business agency does. And so a CPM deal is, from what I understand, pretty standard in the sponsorship business, and what I should have really asked for in the first place. CPM deal is they tally up how many views a video has gotten after a certain amount of time, in this case 15 days. And they pay a rate based on every 1,000 views. So I won't say the specific number that they offered me, but these CPM deals can vary between, like, it's pretty shit, like $10 per 1,000 views on the video, or if you're amazing, like $50 per 1,000 views, which is, that's pretty astronomical. They would have to be really certain there's going to be a lot of interested people in your ad. So they offered me a CPM deal, and I tried to wheel and deal even further. I don't even like wheeling and dealing. I can see why people have like managers to do this greasy shit. Trying to get every cent out of every company, but I was like, okay, I gotta fight a little bit after they offended me in the first place. And I tried to get the CPM number even higher, but they were like, no, that's the max we can go, but you know, if this works out, there'll of course be future sponsorship opportunities. And I'm like, oh. And so I was like, well, you know, do I have to purchase the service myself, or will you guys provide access? Because that seemed really bullshit if I had to sign up myself. You know, they came to me. It didn't seem right. They hooked me up with a free year, which is pretty sweet. I mean, it's not wonderful for me because like just a month ago or so I had signed up myself for a free year, not a free year, I signed up a year of private internet access, the competition. Little did I know. Ow! And that's what ExpressVPN just did to me. It hit me with a big bell. So I had been using private internet access for the last month or so, but I've switched now, of course. Because really, I want to try out the service, just so I can have like a genuine ad. It's not just complete shilling. So I've been trying it out for the last few days. It seems pretty good. I mean, just really personally, between just you and me, I kind of liked private internet access's software slightly better. They showed ping numbers for every server, which is kind of nice. I wish ExpressVPN did that. Maybe they will in the future. But aside from that, it's really pretty comparable. So, if you're interested in a VPN, feel free to get ExpressVPN when I do my ad, because I mean, you do get like 3 months free with one of those sponsorship things, and it helps me out, so it's really a no-brainer. See how I'm getting into that shilling mode? It's entering my brain. So they hooked me up with my own landing page. I don't know if it's live yet, but it's like expressvpn.com/TES. And I haven't signed anything yet. I think they're still like writing out the contract. And then I think I'm submitting. They were kind of flexible with, you know, like when, you know, they're working around my schedule of video releases and things like that, which is pretty nice. They're not making demands. So, you know, I pretty much finish videos on Friday, I put them on Patreon, and then they release live on Monday. And so the original plan was I was just going to send them the video on Friday, but since they would have to like review it over the weekend, they don't like that. Nobody likes doing anything on the weekends. So they decided I could just send them just the ad spot, not part of the video, on like Tuesday or something, and then that would be fine. They could approve it, and then I can just put it in the video. So I'm doing that like next week. So the sponsored video will come out on the 29th, if everything goes as planned. And so, you know, I'm glad that I could try the product myself. And it's not like total shit, and I'm just like, oh god, I'm shilling this stuff. I don't even want to use it. I don't like it, but I'm telling other people to get it. But it works out because, you know, I do, you know, personally, I use a VPN. So I do think people should have a VPN in this day and age. And it's not a god-awful product. And it seems fine. I'm not really on the technical know-how or the political know-how. Like, maybe ExpressVPN is really shit. Like, you know, maybe they have some political allegiances, or I don't know. I have no idea. So I'll try to stay uninformed. You know, ExpressVPN is pretty much, like, they're going around to everybody. It's not like I'm some special flower child that they spotted, and they're like, oh, this is the guy for us. You know, they're trying to get everybody to sell their product. But that's advertising, you know? Like, if they're spending money on advertising, that's how it works. So whatever. So regardless, no matter what, you know, I'm gonna get some nice money from this ad, because like none of my SCP videos have done less than 100,000 views. None of them. And I can't imagine that sponsored one is going to do less than 100,000. And some of my SCP videos have done very well. Now, specifically, the arrangement is to look at the views after 15 days. So 15 days isn't a massive amount of time, but yeah, it can build up a nice amount in that period of time. So hopefully it's a big hit, but otherwise, no matter what, it'll be a decent extra little paycheck that I can just you know, I don't have to appear on camera. It doesn't have to be at the start of the video or any nonsense like that. It's really pretty simple and should just work out for everyone. So yeah, no matter what, I'll get paid on this one, and then, you know, we'll have to see how many people follow through and actually go to the landing page and sign up for ExpressVPN. That'll determine if they do any future sponsorships. So, yeah, I want to put out a good enough ad that people will sign up. You know, that the ad actually works, because that works out in my favor. That way, you know, it works out for everyone, I guess. Probably works out best for ExpressVPN, but what are you going to do? But yeah, it's crazy, man. Just entering like this corporate world, and it's so wild. Just like to go from the world of like being a college dropout, working at my family's like art company, and just making like videos on the internet, and now I'm signing contracts and getting recognized in Qdoba and stuff. It's wild. It's wild shit. And the funniest thing is, like, during these like professional business emails discussing like contracts and ad rates and stuff like this, they refer to me as Mangg. Which is pretty funny. It must just be like my name on Gmail or whatever it is, but they started calling me Mangg. Like, Mangg, we'll send the contract over to you in about a week, and then we'll go live on the 29th. It's just like, okay, this name I randomly picked in Dark Age of Camelot when I was like 12 is now my my business discussion name. It's funny. Damn it. So, you know, it's like part of me. Part of me is not crazy about the idea of like corporate shilling and the entire advertisement industry and things like that, and that I'm going to be profiting off of it. And it's like, do I really need that extra money from doing this stuff? But then I think, like, you know, I can help pay like my dad's medical bills and stuff like that. It's like, I guess that's the trade-off, and it's probably worth it in the end. You know, I can buy my parents a new house or something in the long run. So I think it's probably good. Anyways, moving on. Where are we at? We're at 50 minutes already. We've talked about almost nothing. Well, I guess we've talked about quite a bit. Roll Manging. Some of you may have actually watched Roll Manging. Probably not, though. We started our Warhammer 40k campaign this week, and we ended our Warhammer 40k campaign this week. So they were acolytes of the Inquisition. They were sent into this basically slum district to solve these disappearances and this weird sort of technological implant thing that was going on. And they basically like speed ran this adventure. Like, the adventure was supposed to take, according to the book, 3 to 6 sessions to solve. It was like 3 to 6 evening sessions, it said. Which I figured that's what we do, is an evening session. So, okay, 3 to 6 sessions, that's pretty good. And I read through the whole thing, and I was like, okay, this should be fun. But of course, they speedran it. And in hindsight, it seems very easy to speedrun this adventure. And I'm curious as to how it would take 6 sessions to do this thing. Because they're given the address of this guy whose body was found, like the main victim of the case. So of course they're going to go to the guy's address. There they find his sister, like, crying. And if they're nice to her and they talk to her a bunch, she eventually tells them about this guy who was the victim's friend. And she saw him at, like, the temple. So, of course, they're going to go to the temple. And that's where the guy is. And if they're nice to the guy and they talk to him, he tells them that he last saw the victim going into the almshouse. So, of course, they're going to go into the almshouse. And that's where the final climax of the adventure takes place. That's exactly what they did, and it just seems very logical. I couldn't fault them. I tried to, like, slow them down with little bullshit, but it's like, you know, this is the mystery, and they're solving it. So, yeah, most of the session, they were very just methodical and did their thing, and it seemed to be working out. But they get to the almshouse, and they immediately know that, like, okay, this is where things are going down, because it's pretty cliche. Fuck. Can never know the timing of that one. It's like, okay, you know, there's some mad doctor. Oh, God. There's some mad doctor experimenting on the poor. Clearly. I mean, it's a tale as old as time. And so they get to the almshouse and they're like, okay, this is where all the bad shit's going down. We have to be careful. You know, we can't just barge in there. So they concocted this plan of basically sending Mert in with, like, an injury. And he was going to infiltrate the interior with his injury. And then some... I think they still wanted to, like, kind of confirm that there was bad shit going down. So they sent him in with basically just nothing except a walkie-talkie. And they're like, okay, you know, once you find bad shit, you let us know. the problem is, of course, by the time he finds the bad shit, it's going to be too late for him. This was not a well thought out plan. Sending one lone individual in with no weaponry whatsoever into the den of evil. But they went through, they sent him in. And he was taken to like the third floor of the almshouse, where the medical ward was. And he was put in a small, like, doctor's office or whatever. He was put in a room. The door was closed. He never even checked the door. But, of course, they had, like, barred it or whatever. They had locked it. So he couldn't really get out without, like, smashing the door or something. And then they slowly started, like, pumping tranquilizing gas into the room. And he realized it right away. He like, detected it. And he actually, like, withstood it. But I was like, okay, you know, if you stay in the room, it's gonna keep affecting you. And so I think at this point, he, like, radios in the other guys. But he just stays there. Because he doesn't, like... He feels like, I guess, if he tries to leave, he's probably just going to get gunned down because he has no weaponry. So he'd rather just be, like, knocked out. So that's exactly what happened. He eventually gets knocked out. The other three, however, their plan at this point, once they got radioed in, was to literally just go in guns blazing. Not a good idea. And this seems to be just like a running theme. Like, whenever I DM these guys, they tend to always just rush in. And I had high hopes because they were being pretty, you know, careful and methodical for most of the session. But here it was just kick the door in and shoot everything. And you really had to sort of play this like Call of Cthulhu. You know, you're not Space Marines. You're not Eldar Corsairs or something. You know, you're acolytes of the Inquisition. You are basically Joe Schmoes that have been given guns and told to solve mysteries. It's pretty much Call of Cthulhu. And kicking in doors and shooting everything in Call of Cthulhu almost never works out. So they kick the doors in, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have our first combat encounter. It's gonna be evenly matched, I guess. There's gonna be one guy who's like the enforcer. He's got a bolter, just like they do. So, you know, they're on equal footing. He's maybe a little bit more experienced at killing than they are. So he's got an advantage there, but he's still only human. Then we're going to have two body snatchers. And these were like the mutated, augmented mutants, whatever, that don't use guns. They're a little bit more durable, but they're not wearing armor, and they just have like big augmented fists that they punch people with. So they're going to be melee guys. And, you know, if they're lucky, they can just blow them all away and we can move on. Now, to be fair, the enforcer is meant to have like a shotgun. He's meant to have like a slug throwing, you know, like a normal, our everyday shotgun. Maybe a little better. I changed this to a bolt gun because I figured, you know, if these Inquisition acolytes have bolt guns, which according to this adventure, they should not, but Wrath and Glory is a little weird. If these guys have bolt guns, I gotta give some of the enemies bolt guns as well. So I gave this main enforcer guy a bolt gun. And he pretty much blows Thomas away in like one shot. Just drops him. I think Thomas gets like one shot off first, but it was pretty messy. Then he goes down like right afterwards. Like he was, you know, a bolter will tear through a human pretty easily. So the enforcer goes down, and I'm like, okay, one of them's down, one of my guys is down. It's pretty even. Then they have the mutants, or the body snatchers. And what followed was a series of just terrible, terrible rolls on both sides for a while. And then I started to roll really well. And I think they put down one body snatcher. But then they were both just killed. So one body snatcher lived to fight another day. And it was a TPK. So they tried calling a little foul on the fact that I had given the Enforcer a bolter, even though they had bolters. But then they were like, well, you know, the Enforcer wasn't really even the problem. He put down Thomas, yeah, but we killed him pretty much immediately. It was those body snatchers, which I was running pretty much by the book. And it's just, it was terrible rolls, really. Because if they had just landed a really solid shot on these body snatchers, it would have been the end of it. And so that was it. That was the end of it. Not coming back from that. I couldn't really have a situation where they would survive, because they would just be immediately either killed or like experimented on and probably die that way. Especially once they found like the Inquisition emblems on them, they would have tried to kill them probably immediately and hide it, so that, you know, that's the end of it. So yeah, another DMing experience finished. They were going pretty well, and then it just fell apart. So then we had a discussion. We had like a poll of doing more 40k with me DMing something different, like doing Space Marine Scouts instead of Inquisition, so just a different feel. Or moving on to Call of Cthulhu with Ziggy. And the thing is, I'm fine DMing, like, if I really am excited about introducing a new system, or to give Ziggy a break from DMing. But if Ziggy is ready to do something, then I'm all on board to play. That I will always pick that. So, by an overwhelming majority, Call of Cthulhu won our poll. So that's the end of the 40k RPG for now. And we're starting up Call of Cthulhu tomorrow. This is going to try to be like a serious attempt at doing a Call of Cthulhu campaign. I think Ziggy is doing like a lead-in adventure, and then we're going to be doing Tatters of the King, which is a sort of a Haster King in Yellow themed campaign, which should be pretty fun. I think Ren tried to DM that once, but it didn't get too far. So I have been banned from playing Sloopy Dunbar, which I agree with. I mean, not permanently, but for this campaign, I cannot play Sloopy Dunbar, which I didn't really want to anyway. I want this to be like a serious attempt at a campaign, because we've never really done that. So it could all end horribly very quickly, as always, but hopefully we get a nice campaign out of it in Call of Cthulhu. I guess that's about it. I guess that is about it. So, we got more Sekiro on the way. Final Fantasy 15 this week. Check out the 1425 Star Signals video. And that'll about do us. Pretty simple, easy week. Alright. So my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. See you fine folks next week.